All my niggas, 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 all my niggas.
If politically their eyes were open, right, and they were educated and hip to the game, there's no way we would let McDonald's, Kentucky Fried Chicken, Popeyes, and those are just ones to think about, operate here without paying us a tax. It's called a community benefits package, you know, but see, will, you know, a brother go out there and hustle on your block, and we'll try to run them off, you know, but we don't realize about restaurant doing business in your domain and benefiting off of you, there's supposed to be a tax to that, or they gotta leave. And it's those things like and what's interesting to me, just like, cause I remember the era I grew up in, and I remember when you had politically minded dudes, they just was caught in the streets. Like, we look at them all as bad, but there was some dudes out there that saved lives. They might have been in the streets, but they saved lives. They was organized. You know, when we went out somewhere and some drama happened, you better not leave somebody that's from the block, you know, because they gonna see to it, you're gonna get handled for not doing that. So you had that kind of leadership going on. I just think as above, so below, you can follow that concept, and the knowledge from the top didn't trickle down to the bottom, you know, as well. So it's just certain things we don't know, you know. Certain things we don't know, you know. It's like, who was they? You know, they hate to empower you. It's an acronym I got for that, you know. But like I said, all these companies that's operating here, they owe us. Because you operate in our land.
Well,
you know?
Not just that. When you start talking, well, if you're going to get into politics and economics, you have to go back to that same old adage that AJ was talking about when he talks about the banks and foreclosures on all these homes. I'm not in the position where I'm being foreclosed on, but I can't afford to live here. But the reality is that, how many of you guys know that every bank that's located in this community, oh God, at least 35, 40 years ago, signed an agreement with the city to do what they call a community reinvestment. That meant that for every dime that bank held in its possession, matter of fact, those are your dollars and my dollars that they're putting on their books to show that they have this much capital at any one different time. They're drawing interest off of that capital. You're getting less than 1% of that interest. But you cannot go into this bank, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, Union. There's another one here. What is it called?
U.S. Bank.
U.S. Bank. You cannot go into either one of those banks and
secure a loan.
no, you can't. You can't even go. Let me tell you something. There's a lady down the street from me who found out around about the same time that I did that she has 3 times as much equity in her home right now than she owes. Everybody, if you add up all of her debt, she has 3 times more equity in her home than what she owes out, right? 3 times more equity sitting there that she could pay off everybody that she owns, still stay in her house, and still have money left over to do whatever the devil she so chooses. But guess what the bank won't do?
They won't give her a buzz.
Because she is 3 years older than me, and she is retired, and she is her retirement doesn't, and she actually has a retirement. Because of this, they will not allow her to take the equity out of her home. The only way she's going to get any of that is that she sells the house.
That's a force.
It is a force. Economically speaking, anybody that buys her house is going to get it dirt cheap because she can only list it as a 2-bedroom when in fact it's a 3-bedroom with a bonus room in the garage. Because the bonus room wasn't built by a quote contractor with their licenses, that were approved by the state, that room is considered illegal. So she has to list it according to what the bank that she purchased it from said it was. So they're missing a whole bedroom. It's gonna cost her $5,000 just to get a contractor to come in and say that the ceiling is definitely high enough. That's the only problem that they could find, is that the ceiling needs to be high enough on the third bedroom that was built. She is sitting there pondering, with less than $200,000 owed on her home, the only way she's gonna get the money and be able to seriously retire is that she sells her home, because the bank will not allow her. Oh, but I take that back. They did offer her what they call a reverse mortgage. She owes less than $200,000. A reverse mortgage only covers what she is left owing, but the house would belong to the person. You get to stop paying your mortgage. And I'm reading this stuff to her, and I said, did you understand this before you didn't sign this, did you? She said, yeah. I said, please, don't send this back or take this back until you understand it. I went over it and I said, and I know enough about the law that either get you in trouble or get you out. Take this to a lawyer. Let him review this, because you owe less than $200,000 on your home. The only thing that reverse mortgage is going to cover is what you owe. They're going to pick up your mortgage payments at the end of your lifespan here. You don't get to leave any of this equity that you have in this house to your children, deserving so or not. You don't get to take it with you. I haven't seen anybody yet that was able to take that with them. So, but when you leave, this house is going to be free and clear and owned by this bank or this investor who is taking over your mortgage, giving you one of these. You can live in it until you die. It's an investment, so they're not looking for you to, they're not even looking for her to turn around and die 5 years from now. God knows what will happen in 5 years from now. But the reality is that she loses all of that equity because she is retired and her income is not growing.
Oh, that's why she couldn't, that's why they wouldn't let her pull out of
it. Exactly. And she does not work. And she is not working. So what's wrong with the politics in this? What's wrong with the banks in this community? There's not one person who sit there in this housing meeting with us as we went over this stuff. And I'm not the expert in the housing market, please understand me. But I understood enough to read this document and tell her what it wasn't giving her. Can I tell you that she is still of the mind that she needs to sell her home and move somewhere else? Well, if she sells her home for $500,000, which is what the 2 bedrooms going for, she has 3, and remember the bonus room, somebody is going to get a wonderful deal. Because all they're going to do is pay $5,000, have the city guy come in and say, oh yeah, her husband was a contractor, so you know that the ratio has got to be right. But she loses all of that. Her children lose all of that. How long do you think, if she lives from now to the next 50 years? I have an aunt who's 106 years old. So the probability of my living that long is good, not great, because I live here. She still lives in the country. She still eats a whole lot better than I do. She's not eating as many processed foods and all these other things that go along with that. How do we, as a community that is more than deserving, all of our money goes right here to Wells Fargo Bank every month. Wells Fargo, all they have to do is go in there and they automatically take their mortgage payments from her. She doesn't even get to see that. It's like she never got it, but they're getting it. How do we, as a community that sits here and knows this, and we can't force these banks to do the reinvestment? Honestly, everybody sitting at that table, nobody can tell me what the steps were to force this bank to do the community reinvestment. She has real property. It's something tangible, but they will not allow her to take her equity out. So somewhere, it's not just with our young folks that we're missing out. We're missing out on a whole lot of issues here. We're missing out because, I don't know, are we just not teaching the right things to our children? A whole bunch of us are not. I grant you, I give you that. A whole bunch of us are not. There's a whole bunch of us that it's all about me, myself, and I. There's a whole nother young generation. It's all about the fun. I'm having fun. I don't anticipate. I had a young man tell me he didn't see himself living to be 17, and if he did, he counted himself lucky. Broke my heart. This is 2015, and granted the police are running rapid, but we're doing more damage than the police are to our young black men and women. But where are we missing it? I can't find that sweet spot. Where are we missing? Some of us, we sit here and we talk about how enlightened we are, and we know that things have to come from the top down, or we have to move from the bottom up, or we have to catch it in the middle and hold on to it. We know these things. What is it? Somebody, I can't ask a bunch of folks my age because most of them don't think of it.
The black community, which is bought totally into its leadership, historically and in present day, cannot trust that leadership.
Because they got to connect with white people.
Black leadership has been the most corrupt, backward, unenlightened, and selfish that I've ever seen.
Even other black people bring up other black people sticking together. Because they got to connect with white people.
This leadership is what we call black, but it is a combination of black and white. It has been selected, ruled, and imposed on black masses.
Because they got to connect with white people.
They did our community a social injustice.
Even other black people bring up other black people sticking together because it'll kill their little check because they got to connect with white people.
In the black community, and there's other cultures as well, it is acceptable, it has been accepted, and it's being tolerated.
Did he ever ask you about your culture?
Culture? Well, somehow Barack Obama and Oprah Winfrey figured out a way to skirt the system and get around it.
You ever seen him give anything back to the culture?
Tolerated. Somebody has to step up, and it'd be nice if the Al Sharptons and the Jesse Jacksons would step up, but they won't do it because that's not part of their narrative.
I feel like for everybody who left, they did our community a social injustice by leaving, because in that battle, had they stayed, and had they built, and had they did all the things that we all worked for successfully, you would have a group of kids looking up at Dr. Salvin.
Did he ever tell you whatever you were doing, how it was impacting children? Or did he ever ask you, are you giving back? Did he ever even ask you those questions?
Take a cause like bullying. That's fucking bullying. Bullying is nothing compared to this as a problem. Bullying is fucking gives a flying shit compared to this. This is people dying in the streets. This is people going in jail at age 17, 18, 19 for 30 years. This is systematic abuse, physical abuse, sexual abuse, assault. This is teenagers killing teenagers, and we've started a fucking click it or kick it campaign and an anti-bullying campaign.